we'll cover this while we're here. Wendy's chairman and top owner is a Trump donor and a fundraiser and a friend to Trump. Now people are boycotting Wendy's. Okay, so, all right. Can we talk about this real quick? I'm going to read the article, but maybe this is the leftist in me. This is a problem that leftists and liberals have when they juxtapose to one another. I guess I'll give a quick... Leftist is somebody who is generally completely against capitalism, and a liberal is somebody who is generally okay with capitalism, but is very, very socially progressive. That's my distinction there. If you have different distinctions for those words, that's fine. I'm just going to use those words that way so that you understand what I'm meaning. The delineation between leftist and liberal is in how much they care about this. So a liberal cares about this because, oh my God, a big company is actually supporting the fascist dictator guy who's bad and is in the pedophile files. This is horrible. This is astoundingly horrible. But at the same time, if you're a leftist, when you look at this, you go, yeah, of course, the fucking billionaire is in the bed with the other billionaires. What side do you think they were going to be on? The billionaires are always going to be on the side of other billionaires. They are not our friends. They are not your friends. They are not the friends of anybody, except for themselves. The reason I'm a leftist and not a liberal is because of this. I can't be on the side of capital because the side of capital breeds this. This will always be the case. Every single sense. So Jasso said, this makes sense because Wendy said they wanted to move to a demand-based price model. Yeah, they wanted to have surge pricing on fucking burgers. Earlier this month, the hashtags Wendy's is over party went viral on Twitter after Business Insider reported in May that James Budestedt, CEO of the Moy Companies, which is the owner of Wendy's and Taco Bell, had donated more than $400,000 to Donald Trump's re-election campaign. At the same time of reporting, he was set to join a roundtable discussion hosted by Trump on how to reopen the restaurant industry amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so also... this one, when Trump was president, the person who would be hosting that roundtable discussion would have been whoever is in office at the time. So I'm not super concerned about this part because, again, whether that was Trump or whether that was Biden was just a matter of timing as to who would have the discussion on trying to get the economy set back up to be good for everybody. Because when the economy's not moving, that's not just bad for businesses, that's bad for everybody. That means that supply lines for food aren't moving. That means that your ability to get income is stymied. Like, it means bad things for all in general when the economy is not stimulated in some way. So, yeah, whomever was in office at the time was going to be the one for that roundtable discussion. Neato. Again, though, the idea of the Wendy's CEO donating so much money to the Trump campaign, I don't see why anybody who is even mildly on the left would be surprised by this or even concerned by this. Because, again, this may be a personal gripe, but I feel like an issue that liberals and leftists butt up against all the time is that leftists look at this and see that this is a symptom of a problem. Liberals look at this and go, this is the problem. The problem is Wendy's donating this money. So how can we stop that problem from happening? And you can go back to, like, when I think it was Reagan who made it to where we could put as much money as we wanted into political campaigns. And so that is something that could be looked at. You could nix that out. But you're still going to have the financial incentive to bring that law back again in the future. And that is indicative of people being able to hoard wealth like fucking dragons. And thus we get again to that juxtaposition between liberals and leftists. Leftists look at this and go, okay, well, maybe the problem is the system of capitalism that begot this in the first place. And the liberal goes, well, no, there's a law that caused this, so we need to solve that law. Both of them are technically correct. Both of them are correct. The ability, Citizens United, the ability of super PACs to exist is a problem that needs to be solved. In this, liberals and leftists can be perfectly good friends. We both want that shit to go away. The world where the super PAC exists is the world where your voice and my voice in democracy do not matter. Where we split ways after that is when we start looking at the systems that built these things in the first place. Now, from a pragmatic view, I don't think there's any benefit to just yelling capitalism, 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 because while it is true, again, as a leftist, I want socialism to be here. I want that to be our current economic system. I want people's needs to be taken care of. I want workers represented democratically in the workplace. I want these things. I feel like I need these things personally. However, I also recognize that that reality that I want to fight for is so far down the line from all of the rules that we need to be basically hemorrhaging so that we can actually get to that point. It's astounding. As an example, right? There are a few ways you can get socialism. You can get socialism with the revolution of the people, where they take over all the industry and suddenly you're there, and you get the dictatorship of the proletariat by their gunpoint. The problem with that is a bloody war, and you get all kinds of people involved in that civil war who are going to fight on the side of capital, even though that side does not have their best interest at heart. And so you get people against people, and then there are going to be people who are going to capitalize on that, and then you get the French Revolution problem, where you solved the problem of the current nobles, and then you didn't solve the problem of keeping infrastructure around. So within about 5 to 10 years, a power vacuum is formed, and more nobles come in and get you right back where the fuck you were. So there are a lot of rules that need to be eroded using the same tools that built them so that we can get to socialism. Again, where liberals and leftists are friends is that eroding those rules works out for both of us. Liberals generally want free markets, free democracy, all that shit. Again, socialists, so I am still for free markets. That is something that socialism is still okay with. You get further into the economic spectrum, maybe not. That's not really important for this part of the conversation. There is a part where people who are further left will divorce themselves from me in any fight, so I just accept that as a reality. But looking at this, if we can get money out of politics, then that solves some of this problem. I don't have to give a shit about the political leanings of the guy who's selling me a burger if the power of that guy selling me the burger is severely limited. But right now, when there's an article about, oh my God, we need to end Wendy's, everybody is so surprised that Wendy's, is actually in league with Trump. No. Granted, again, this is from 2020. This is ages ago. This is an old article. So when you throw this at me like it's new, this isn't new. Not only is this old insofar as we can just accept that everybody who's a billionaire is probably associated with being part of the weird fucking island cult from Epstein, but this is also old news insofar as it's 6 years old. Like, the article is actually old. Lass says, I really like Wendy's food too. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. No matter what corporation you see, they are not your friend. It doesn't matter which one it is. We can individually scrutinize the shit that Wendy's does, that Chick-fil-A does, that McDonald's does, but at the end of the day, none of that is going to erase those places from existing, and none of that scrutiny is going to change their donation habits, because you and me individually, we do not have the kind of collective power to impact them in the, to the notes of billions. Instead, what we can do is try to completely erode their ability to influence. We cannot change their minds by voting with our dollars, because people who have more dollars than us inadvertently get more votes, and I promise you, George Soros memes aside, those of us on the left have less capital. We have less money. There is a reason why the right wing of politics tends to get supported by the fucking billionaires. That's where the money is. If we can erode that power, if we can erode that specific ability to influence politics, then that will help a ton. Again, this is where liberals and leftists are great friends, because we both want that. We both need that. We do not want corporations having a say or having a vote in politics, because that is an amount of money in politics that can only ever breed corruption. Jessica Davis says, I see your point. I've just grown up believing some capitalism is good, but some capitalists are good, but most are bad. So it's hard to see that capitalism equals bad for everybody. So here's the thing. All systems have benefits and have weaknesses. All of them do. And there is a world where capitalism exists, but there are reins that are put on it by socialist enterprises that can keep it from getting out of hand. Typically, one of the ways that we shackle capitalism in order to work for us instead of against us is by utilizing unions. But guess which kind of people have been fighting against the establishments of unions for a really fucking long time? The capitalists. We're always going to have that push and pull. I want that push and pull to be one where we have more power than the other guys, and the other guys want us to have less power. That's always going to be the case. Jassa says, conservatives and Dems, yes, capitalist. So, as for what to do about this, because boycotting Wendy's is not going to change whether or not the CEO's friends with Trump. Also, Jesus Christ, Clueless Expert, thank you for the $100 tip. Oh, that makes me say ooh. God damn it. But thank you for the $100 tip. I was down to like $35 before payday, so that helps a ton. Also, Saki's electrolysis is coming up again, and I don't have the money to pay for that quite yet. So every single dollar you guys send is definitely well appreciated. That is amazing. Jessica says, fair enough, and I completely agree that there needs to be more unions. Yeah, so the ways that we can try to erode this power away from corporations is by establishing more unions, taking more control at the ground level of businesses, and taking more control of politics at the ground levels as well. The DSA does a wonderful job of this by getting people elected at ground, like when I say ground level, I'm meaning local level below Congress level. They are getting people elected below Congress level in order to consolidate more power within the bastion of the left. Insofar as a bastion for the left even exists, the DSA does that work. That is one of the reasons why they are linked in the description below. If you want to join your local DSA or support your local DSA, please look at the directory that is under this video. But we all need to get on the same page here. The CEO of Walmart, when they lower the cost of insulin for everybody, they aren't actually your friends. They're doing a good thing. And we can get into the minutia of the math of whether that one good thing outweighs all of the terrible things that they have done over the years, all the mom and pop stores they've destroyed, all of the lives that have been completely eroded in terms of their own value and their own personal wealth because Walmart did such scummy things as having the D-Day system so that people were not able to get their unemployment even when they needed it. We can do the mental math over whether Walmart making insulin cheaper somehow completely juxtaposes against that very well. We can do the mental math over Wendy's having a $5 biggie deal, which is there for you in your time of need when you need food and you need it quickly and you don't have time and you don't have money, versus the $400,000 they donate to Donald Trump. We can do that mental math, but at the end of the day, cut through that fat and just accept the point that corporations are not and will never be your friend. And even when they do good things, we need to constantly be working against them. Because working against them is actually what forces them to feel like they have to do the good things in general, because it's one of the ways that they try to get people silent. Now, the fun thing is, this is a strategy that Bill Gates has been using for years. The charity foundation shit that Bill Gates had been doing was one of the ways that a lot of liberals would say, oh, he's the one ethical billionaire. That was a meme for a while, and now, of course, we see shit with Bill Gates on the island, of course, because they all went to the island, all of them, every single one of them. When a corporation is doing a good thing, accept that that good thing happened because somebody put them in a chokehold and made them do the good thing. The answer to that is not to let up the chokehold. The answer to that is tighten the chokehold and make them do more good things. Sean Helfand says, yes, and we need to constantly remind them when they do good things so that way they invalidate their brain chemistry into thinking, oh, if I do a good thing, I get reward because it needs to be ingrained in their heads because it does not stay there for long. Here's the problem, though, Sean. You cannot make a corporation think that when it does good thing happens to them. You know why? A corporation can't think. A corporation's not a person. That's another thing that is incredibly frustrating. If you've like clued into politics any amount at all, the idea that corporations are people, like, it's kind of subtextually in our vernacular, but it's also legal precedent. So, God, You cannot change the mind of a corporation because it is an entity that exists as an amalgamation of a board of directors. You can't speak to the corporation. It is a faceless dummy for a reason. Chasta says, from what I can tell, Pritzker is the closest thing to an ethical billionaire. Again, when a billionaire does a good thing, question heavily the why. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.